Welcome to Life and Smile, the podcast. I'm Dr. Reena, a global dental expert, founder, CEO, and author. And for our 7th season, we're here to join you on screen straight from our recording studio at 75 Harley Street. Join me in each episode where we talk about everything dental, lifestyle, business, and much more. Join in conversation with an industry insider in their chosen field who give us a behind-the-scenes glimpse into their daily regime, career turning points, and an exclusive look at to what they can't live without. As a businesswoman myself, it's been so inspiring to hear how people have built their careers and shattered those glass ceilings. So let's get the conversation going. Have you seen our latest By Dr. Reena edit? You can find out more information on www.bydrreena.com. Welcome back to our Life and Smile studio, where I'm joined by the incredibly innovative composer and musician Niraj Chag. Niraj is an award-winning composer, producer, and artist whose music beautifully blends Eastern and Western classical traditions with contemporary soundscapes. His work spans film, television, theatre, and his own deeply expressive albums, including The Lost Souls and Muddle, are all powerful storytelling and emotional connections. Niraj stands out as one of the very few artists crafting major works entirely by hand, composing, producing, performing, and mixing every instrument himself. Niraj's artistry shines through his ability to create music that feels both intimate and universal, weaving heritage, identity, and human experience into every piece. I can't wait to dive into his journey, his creative process, and the role music plays in well-being and self-expression. So Niraj, a warm welcome to Life and Smile.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start from the beginning. I've been following your music for many, many years. I'm pleased to say it's in my Spotify top 5 Wrapped album for this year. So, you know, I know all the background and been kind of following your inspirational journey for a long time. But let's start from the beginning. So tell us kind of how you got into music, how it all started off.
I got into music quite early on in my kind of childhood, really. I was surrounded by music.
Okay.
My mum was massively into kind of spiritual music, bhajans, kirtans.
Yeah.
My dad was a massive Bollywood buff, crazy about Bollywood music. And my brother was into all of that and Western pop and Bhangra and everything. And we have no musical background in our family.
Right.
And my brother, for some reason, in the 80s, decided to form a band, which I still actually don't understand why he did it. Like, he just randomly wanted to form a band. He just got so heavily into music. Couldn't play anything. We were just kind of, at the time he was winging it, just kind of picking things up and trying things out. And my dad was like really excited. So he said, "Oh, I'll buy you a synthesizer."
Right.
So he bought him a synthesizer, and he didn't know what to do with it. We were looking at it like all these knobs and buttons. We didn't know what we were doing, and kind of playing around. We figured it out, and then he formed this band playing like weddings, restaurants,
Right.
and I was desperate to be in this band, but I couldn't play anything. I was quite young at the time, but I couldn't play anything or do anything. And then, out of like charity, basically, he said, "All right, you can control the drum machine."
Right.
And my job was to start the drum machine at the start of the track, and then stop the drum machine at the end of the track. I was probably the most nervous person on the stage. I was pressing the button twice, and that's where it all started for me.
Wow.
And it was like, at that point, I was like, "This is amazing. This is amazing." So I got into it, and it was like, throughout even the start of my journey, technology was there, like drum machines, synthesizers. It was such an important part of the whole process for me.
Right. Amazing. So your brother to thank for getting you that initial drum lead role. Your work, it's deeply influenced by your heritage and your identity. So how do you feel your cultural background has shaped sort of your early works and, where the more recent albums that you released?
I mean, like South Asian Indian music has really been core to everything I kind of grew up with. I love sort of what I call Eastern soul is kind of like the genre I would label it if it was labeled. I love ideas from from that region. Yeah, it's. I love bhajans, I love kirtans, I love Sufi music. I just think it's so rich,
Yes.
and there's so much innovation actually
Right.
in what can be done with it. I think a lot of it is sort of ossified.
Yes.
It feels like it's really, stagnant, some of it.
Okay.
But the ideas are beautiful, and I've always felt like this is ripe to be reworked in a way
Okay.
that's kind of interesting through what my filter basically.
Okay.
And that's always been exciting to me. And the ideas behind it are just really interesting. The
Okay.
ideas behind Eastern philosophy, I just find really, really, interesting, and they've underscored so much of my life. So, to be able to express these philosophical ideas using sound and music is just like I've always considered it a privilege.
And I think it's amazing how you've got that classical side, but you've brought it into that modern kind of production. I mean, how did you come up with it? How is it something that you, as you said, you wanted to rework what had been ossified, or how have you been able to blend those worlds like so beautifully?
I think it came out of necessity, because I never had any musical training.
Right.
And I had to. I knew I wanted to make music, and technology was the way to that. That was a path for me. And that's why, for me, the marriage of technology and music is so congruent. It's
Right.
so, it's part of the same process.
Yes.
That to me is really important, because I think congruence is really, really key. It's
Yeah.
got to feel authentic, and
Yes.
I've always had a passion for music, and I've always had a passion for technology, and technology really facilitated this whole journey for me. And then I started actually learning music. I learned technology first, then I started learning music
Okay.
theory and understanding, harmony, and
Right.
how kind of music is mixed, how it's mastered, how it's actually put together.
Amazing. And you've composed everything from theatre to your own albums, film. How did you then, over time, carve, that identity within this industry? How did you slowly work up in your career?
I mean, literally, all I did was say yes. That was my strategy. I
Right.
don't know. I've sort of come into this with no training. I've picked it up. I love this. This is something that I'm really passionate about. When I'm creating music, I'm in a zone that I can't even kind of articulate. It's such a
Right.
profound experience for me. And I started putting music out, and people started contacting me. Opportunities came in, and I was scared. I was like, I've never done this. I've never done a theatre show. I've never done a musical. I've never done a film or a TV series, or
Right.
idents for a radio station or ads, any of it.
Yeah.
But I just say yes, and then panic, and then figure it out.
Right.
That's my MO.
And then I guess that opens up more doors, and you get more experience and
And more panic.
And more panics, but more rewards. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a really important thing, I think, for everyone, especially when you're first starting your career. You have to say yes and try
Yeah.
things out. And I guess that's when you know what you enjoy most. Is there any particular industry that you prefer, like film, or do you prefer just doing your own thing? Is any like key standout works that you've done over the years?
It's interesting. I mean, when I'm doing my own stuff, I really that's my soul.
Okay.
Like that's my expression.
Yeah.
That's when I'm able to express what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. But I don't usually learn anything through that process.
Okay.
It's pure expression. When I'm composing for, a different format, if it's film or TV or whatever, I learn so much. That's where I learn.
Right.
And then what I learn, I'm often able to implement it in my own work. I learn a ton
Makes
of stuff,
sense.
and I'm like, ooh, that's interesting.
Right.
That's a because it's in those collaborations that you're
Yes.
challenged, that you're
Yes.
pushed. when you're setting the parameters,
Yes.
you don't usually push yourself in the same
Yes.
way because
Yes.
you're within yourself. Whereas somebody else brings something where you don't know what that is. Like
Right.
that's how you start questioning the whole thing, and then you have to find a solution to it. So it's two different things, I think.
But they all kind of both support each other, I
They
guess,
they
because you
they
need your own thing to kind of maintain your enthusiasm and
yeah.
enjoyment, I guess, to then want to do other things and try things out.
And they fuel each other.
Yeah.
Like the music that I put out brings in opportunities for composing and scoring, and vice versa. Everything sort of serves
Yes,
everything else.
yes.
It's a bit of a snowball effect,
For
really.
sure. Makes sense. As you know, I've been into music for a very long time. I remember my dad used to do music classes, and it's something that's been in my life right from day zero. And I think without it, I don't know where I'd be. And I'm sure you'd agree, music is so grounding. Are there any like personal rituals or practices that support you through music, like just for your well-being? Because I think especially in today's day and age, it's such a fast-paced, everyone's constantly doing a million things. I always find at the end of the day, I leave the clinic, put my headphones in, put sometimes your album on, or any other music that I really enjoy, and it just decompresses me. So I know, I listen to podcasts on the way to my work, but on the way back, it's always music. Is there any specific things you do obviously that's your job and your day to day as well, but any specific practices or rituals that kind of help you and your well-being?
I mean, one of the pillars of my life is meditation. It's become a massively important thing in my life. I don't listen to anything.
Right.
I don't have guided meditations. I just meditate, and it's been one of the most important things in my life for my own sanity, my
Yes.
own mental well-being. The more I look at meditation, the more I feel it's like a panacea.
Right.
It seems to be able to get me out of any pickle, any situation. It's just like it's become like a real pillar in my life, and I think a lot of it is being able to, for me, sit in a room with nothing.
Right.
Like no distractions, no sound,
Right.
no book, no TV, no screen. You just sit there and you just observe.
Right.
And it's a really hard process, but it's like a real workout. I feel like it's like a skill and a workout. It's like learning an instrument.
Right.
You're practicing scales. You're practicing scales.
Yes.
You're practicing observation.
Yeah.
You're observing what's going on in yourself.
Yeah.
And what it gives you is a clarity that I've never ever found through anything else.
Wow. And you practice that every day, or how do you fit that into your routine?
I try to find time, whether it's at night before
Yep.
sleeping or if I can in the day. But I also do it when I'm out. When I'm like, another thing that I'm very passionate about is I cycle. That's like my physical thing that I kind of serves my body really.
Yeah.
But when I'm cycling, I don't listen to anything. I meditate.
Okay.
So if I'm out for a walk, I meditate. So a lot of my time goes doing something and meditating, or meditating by itself, kind of thing.
So it can be done in different forms, different ways.
Yeah.
How does your day look? Because I'm sure I'm sure every day is very different. Every week is different. Do you have like a set schedule, or depends on what you're working on? Do you have a set routine for your day?
I try to, but I'm not the most disciplined person in the world. So everything's sort of
Fluid.
Everything's a bit fluid. But I try to follow a structure. I've never been good with structures.
Okay.
But as I've become older and family commitments and everything, it's hard to work in the way that I like to work. Actually, I used to work through the night.
Right.
I was a real night. I'd start work at 8-9 in the evening and work through till like 6 in the morning.
Wow.
It's just student lifestyle.
Sounds like my husband actually. He's the same night owl.
Living off pot noodles, start at 8. But now it's a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's a bit more of a format to how I work and when I work.
Right.
Yeah.
What keeps you like motivated? Like if you're having to, you've got a deadline and you have to get something done for, not your own work, but another project. How do you keep the energy? Because it's a real, I mean, you've got to be in the zone. It's a real creative skill. So you've got to be super focused, as well as meditation. Is there anything else that kind of keeps you going as such?
I mean, it's a good question because I this is something I've battled. Like in my head, I've always told myself I got to work when I'm inspired.
Yes.
It's creative work. I got to work
Yeah.
when I'm inspired, but life doesn't always allow
No.
that, and I've had to like shift my mindset and
Okay.
like believe that actually I don't have to work when I'm inspired because I can be inspired whenever I want to be inspired.
That's such a good
I
point.
can try
Yeah.
and control that.
Right.
I think I can control that. And again, meditation plays into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Before I start, I ground myself, I focus, and I'm in control here. I have
Yeah.
agency. I'm not at the mercy of inspiration coming or not.
Right.
Whatever I do, I'll create something.
Yes.
And if it's rubbish, I can always scrap it and
Yeah.
start again.
Yeah.
And free myself from that pressure of
Yes.
I've got to create something amazing now.
Right.
Because I'll create if it's not going in the right direction, I'll go away, come
Yeah.
back and start again.
Right. That's a really good mindset because you're right. You can't always wait to be inspired. And linked to that, I guess you're sort of juggling your creative process, but also you're running a business as well. That must be difficult. How have you managed to balance all of that?
I'm Gujarati, so it comes very naturally to me. No, basically, it's like I think this is something I encounter a lot with creative people and meeting young creative people and doing talks and stuff. And a lot of people struggle with that side of things. Like they want to create,
Yeah.
but they don't want to engage with that element. And I kind of understand that. It's probably a different part of the brain or something. It's hard to consolidate these two things. What I found for me is, and I was similar. I don't like bookkeeping. I've got a company. I don't like bookkeeping. I don't like writing contracts or reading contracts.
Yep.
Until at a point I decided that actually this is holistic. This is an holistic vision of my life.
Yes.
And these are all part and parcel of this journey. Life is not just about doing these things that you like.
Yeah.
And when I surrendered to that, actually, what was interesting was I stopped hating those things. I don't mind those things.
Yeah.
By doing my own bookkeeping, I've learned so much about my business. Before, I would just give everything to an accountant and say, "Oh, you do it. I had no clue what was happening. I had no clue about my incomings or outgoings. I would just give these big folders to a bookkeeper and they would do it. And then I decided, actually, let me do this and see if I'm capable of doing it and if it's something that serves me.
Right.
And it transformed my whole perspective on the business side of things. It gave me so much insight into what works and what doesn't work. And I was able to grow what I was doing in a different way.
Right.
Same with contracts and understanding legal vernacular and terminology.
Yes.
You first read it and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then as you do more and more, you understand what rights are, what exclusive rights are, what where royalties come from, how the whole system works. And you're just basically giving yourself autonomy in that process. So I think you have to have a psychological shift in that this is not something you hate.
Okay.
This is fine. It's part and parcel of it. It will serve this and this will serve. Everything's got to serve everything else.
Right.
It's got to be just like my scoring stuff scores my own stuff, my own music that I compose on albums or whatever, and vice versa.
Yeah.
My understanding of contracts, my understanding of accounts serves a bunch of different creative processes actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, it's all now one whole.
Embracing all the skills
Yeah.
to make so you can do what you enjoy, but also make progress with it. Because without all those things, I guess you can't move forward either. So
You got to not hate
you've
it.
got to not hate it.
You got to
Yeah,
not hate
yeah.
it, and you got to find a way of accepting it in life. There's no such thing as
Loving every
everything's
single
going to
thing.
be
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Like, so you've got to shift yourself to
Yeah.
actually your perspective's got to shift, and you embrace it all.
right.
And when you embrace it and you surrender to it, this is a part of
Yeah.
it. It's fine, and that just liberates you.
Yeah, I completely agree. Do you have any favorite like philosophies, lyrics, or lines from your own work or other people that inspire you?
There's one quote that I've been thinking about a lot lately. There's a couple of quotes actually. One is about happiness, and the one I was thinking about today actually was everything you do will be insignificant, but it's very important that you do it.
I love that. I've not heard that one before actually.
Yeah, it really struck me as sort of salient and provocative and just profound.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Like
Yes.
what's in the grand scale of this grand scheme of things, everything is insignificant, but that's fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's fine.
But it's so
And it's
important.
humbling.
Yeah.
It's humbling.
It's humbling, for sure.
Is the core.
Yeah, we're a tiny dot in the whole of what's happening. Puts things into perspective as well. And what do you do? Like you enjoy like to wind down when you're not doing your work or music. You meditate. You cycle. Is there anything else that you enjoy doing in terms of hobbies or anything else?
I really like learning and hanging out with ChatGPT.
Our new best friend.
Yeah, my best new friend. No, I mean I really like like AI has been such a game changer in terms of like for me. Yeah, I'm always curious about things. I like learning about things. Everything I've learned about music has been self-taught.
Right.
I'm kind of a bit of an autodidact in that way.
Okay.
And ChatGPT and AI generally, Claude, and all these other platforms have really just made that so easy. I remember when I was learning music in the late 80s and 90s. Yeah, I'd have to go to the library, get a book, read a book. There's no YouTube. There's no any of it, and I had to learn how to do it. When we made my first music video, which was Bangles.
Yeah.
I ran out of money after we shot it.
Wow.
And I was like, I need to learn how to edit this now. So it took me a year to learn how to edit. And I had to do it from a book from the library. I had to buy a manual on editing software. And I edited it. But it took me a year, and I had to do it from a book. And now, like, it's just easy. I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, it's easy to learn things.
Yes.
But I'm embracing that. I think it's really really empowering.
For sure. I think used in the right way. And I think for sure, like learning new skills is so much easier now. And I guess with your work, as you said, it's so interlinked with technology, it can only make it even better and speedier or more efficient. And you can maximize the use of that.
I mean, AI is just like such an interesting technology. Do you think about how it might affect
for sure
your industry?
It's
because the
already,
robotic stuff is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I think for us it's probably not going to replace us, but it's probably going to reduce the inefficiencies that we have and speed things up in terms of diagnosis and explaining things to our patients in a better way, tracking things. I mean, I'm fascinated by it. I can't wait to find out more. But I agree. I think in all industries, it's such a useful tool. Used well, I think, is used properly. Obviously, I don't think it'll ever replace that human empathy and anything else, but I think we should make the most of it.
I wonder I wonder how far it will go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to.
Like I've been reading these experiments they've done, and they take AI GPs and human GPs without knowing,
Right.
and it's really hit or miss.
Really?
A lot of people prefer the AI GPs.
Wow.
They because they have the time.
Yes,
They
true,
have
true.
like the patience. They don't lose the
yeah.
patience. So I wonder how
Where it will go.
crazy it will get.
One to watch.
Mm.
Niraj, thank you so much for such a inspiring conversation and sharing so generously, about your background and where you've got to where you have, and all the tips and tricks along the way. What's next for you? I know we were talking before the podcast about potential new music. Where can our listeners and followers find you, and any projects that are coming up?
I mean, for 2026, I really want to focus more on putting out music. I've not been putting out enough music for the last few years just because of my composing schedule. So I want to make a conscious effort putting out more music. I want to do more music. I've been getting into a lot of music for dance.
Okay.
It's a form I really love and I really enjoy, and I really find it exciting when people create their own kind of movement and dance around this musical idea I have. So I want to do more of that. 2026 will be a year hopefully for my own stuff, and you can just find out more on my socials and my which I'm not very good at, by the way. But you can check out stuff on my social media and my website.
Amazing. Thank you so much, and look forward to welcoming you back to Harley Street again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Check out our latest By Dr Reena edit on www.bydrreena.com.